Hello everyone, welcome back to another reviewing video. Kind of got a lot going on this month, so I'll take it. Keeps content rolling, keeps me entertained. So, if you haven't noticed already, we'll be talking about the new James Bond game, First Light. First things first, most of the gameplay you're going to see is from the almost 2 hour long tutorial phase of this game, because man does it take a while. Not fun. Or, not fun, I guess. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy it, but it did take so much longer than any other game I've ever played. That being said, to try and keep it as spoiler-free as possible, obviously there is still going to be spoilers, so take that with a grain of salt. We're just going to keep it to this kind of gameplay here. It doesn't really show off much of what's going on. It's just you as Bond becoming an agent. So, first things first, the actual gameplay of the game itself. If you go into this thinking that you're going to get a nostalgia hit like crazy, you might be a bit disappointed. I didn't know really what to expect because when it comes to games like this, I'm sure I've said it before, I tried to keep up with absolutely nothing about them the entire way through leading up to their release. I don't watch gameplay footage. I maybe watch a trailer or two. Even that is a bit of a stretch whenever it comes to that kind of thing. I much prefer experiencing a game like this that I know I'm going to play the whole way through all at once. So it doesn't play like the old Bond games, which you can kind of tell from just the way that these training sequences are going. It almost feels a lot more like a Hitman game as you're going through it. Over the shoulder, sneaking around. You get a lot of different opportunities to complete your objective in different ways, kind of like how you would in the Hitman games. They give you different sets of hints as you're going through your objectives to maybe take out a target in this way, or find a way into a restricted area through snagging somebody's keycard, or finding a way through, like, say, the rafters of a building. Things like that, where it actually adds a bit more depth to the games. They feel a bit more open world than the old games did, which feels weird to say because the levels really aren't that much different compared to what, say, like 007 Nightfire or Agent Underfire. Those ones, they had the same kind of level feel, but these ones almost feel like you get more liberty. It's kind of hard to explain. It kind of goes along the lines of, say, From Russia with Love, which was another fantastic 007 game on the PlayStation 2. But it adds a bit more complexity with the hand-to-hand combat that they have in the game, like it's showing right now. The gunplay actually feels really good. I enjoy it a lot, especially going from playing on the old PlayStation 2 controllers to PC now. I think that this game did a really good job at kind of bridging that gap, because it's been so long since we've had a 007 game. I couldn't even tell you how long it's been. 15 years, maybe? I could be wrong. Don't fact check me, I'm not looking that up. But to play the game itself felt great. The story of it, I enjoyed. I'll be honest, I lost the plot about 8 times going through this because I just had like no clue where it was going with what. They had like a curveball at every possible moment that they could have. First, you're trying to go after a rogue agent, 009. Spoiler. Sorry. Then you find out that 009 is actually trying to help you. Then you go after who you think is the villain of the story, Nicholas Webb, which he like kinda is in a way because he's there alongside of his son Damien, who is really the villain of the story, where Damien's trying to essentially stop MI6 and take their reactor core from the basement of the building. I can't even like think of a way to put it the proper way because it's just there's so much that they throw side and side and from the top, and then you get like uppercutted by Mike Tyson. Maybe I'm just really slow. That's possible. But the story was good. I just finished the game as I'm recording this voiceover, so I'm like only thinking of what happened at the end. And you think you kill Damien, and then he comes back, and I don't know. There's just such an interesting way that they decided to go about it. I never even finished any of the old 007 games, so I can't even think of how it would really compare to that, to use that as some sort of baseline. I was so young playing them. I was like 8, playing 007 Nightfire, and our PlayStation 2 disc had a scratch on it, so once you would make it to like the Zen Garden type level in Japan, it would stop. It would never load in the mission, and I never bothered to get a new disc or even emulate the game or anything like that. So I never actually got to finish it. I feel like I finished some of the other ones and I just really don't remember them. I did finish GoldenEye, which isn't really James Bond, but it was a 007 game. Probably the best 007 game. This being Rogue Agent, not the N64 GoldenEye, which was still good, but I liked Rogue Agent better. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. So, do I think this game is worth it? Absolutely. If you go into it thinking that you're going to feel like you did 15 years ago, you might get a bit disappointed, but I would say give it a decent shot if you truly wanted to get the game, because it was worth every bit of money that I paid for it. I will most likely be playing it again, trying to get maybe a harder difficulty completion. I know whenever you're done with it, you can do the tactical simulations, which I'm assuming are either A, replaying missions, or B, kind of like how they did with Pragmata, if you've played that game, where you can do certain situations based around weapons or combat styles that you have to complete them that way, or you don't complete all the objectives for the simulation. I haven't actually tried that, so I'm not 100% sure. But from start to finish, I enjoyed every bit of it. You can play it completely covert if you wanted to, which I do like about this game. You can start off going the whole way through it, sneaking your way through everything, not getting caught once, so long as you pay attention, smart about what you're doing with your enemies that you take down, and if you're like me, trying not to just accidentally shoot. I've found myself doing that quite a bit. Or you can kind of run and gun it if you want to. Now, you can't just shoot off the bat. You do have to wait to get shot at to gain your license to kill from MI6. But once you have that, you can just kind of run through the rest of the level, or at least the rest of the area, shooting anyone on sight. So that was definitely interesting. It adds a bit of variety to the game. I have actually gotten to learn that if you take a sneakier approach versus going for the loud and flashy approach, you can actually beat the game much quicker, which, surprise, surprise, whenever you're not trying to sneak around. But I didn't think it was actually going to be that much of a difference. I had a buddy who beat the game probably an hour and a half quicker than I did, just because he usually ended up going run or gun quicker than I did when it came to doing the levels. So it adds a bit of variety in that way too. Maybe you'd be able to see how fast you can finish the game on your own. Who knows? But with all that being said, I don't really have any problems with this game. I can't fault it for any graphical issues. There were a couple spots that I don't really have video of, or if I do, I'm not going to sift through it because I recorded for like 4 hours before deciding I wasn't going through all that. Especially because I don't want to just reveal the whole game. I want some people to be able to play it, permitting they want to. So there were a couple spots where I noticed Bond just didn't have the bottom half of his shirt in one cutscene. I had one actually in the final fight where my camera glitched through a wall and I couldn't see what I was doing. It almost got me killed.
What's down there?
So I don't want to fault it for that because the game just came out on the 27th of May, and this is only 3 days later. There hasn't even been a single patch yet. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing that there's no patches or not, but then again, I don't feel like it really needs patched that quickly. There was no game-breaking anything that happened. But if you are a fan of the 007 series, especially the gaming part of it, I think that you would be very pleased with your $70 spend on this, or even cheaper than that if you get it on sale or whatever else you might be able to get. But I think that really wraps it up. I don't want to talk too much more about it. I've already had quite a bit of spoilers. So I think I'll just have to leave it at that one. And with that being said, I'll catch you all later.